Hello, I'm Brainerd Carey, Director of Praxis Center for Aesthetics. And today I want to give just a little bite-sized information about fundraising because I work with students all the time in Praxis Center for Aesthetics in my patrons and sponsors class about fundraising. And there's a lot of things that I see in terms of how letters are written, success stories, and also issues that everybody has that are kind of most common issues. And the most common issue, I think, with fundraising is the ambition of it, right? Like it's easy to be ambitious and say, perhaps, and say, I'm going to sell a painting for $10,000 or $50,000. But it's a quite different thing to have the ambition of, I'm going to raise $10,000 or $50,000, the same amount of money, right? And why is that? It's a whole different perspective when you're making something to sell, or you're just making something for the beauty of making it, like a painting, sculpture, photograph, whatever it is. The ambition to sell that can seem very worthy, right? It's a beautiful work. It's a beautiful work, and it's possible to let it go to the public or to the a private person for a certain amount of money. It's okay to sell work and have the ambition to sell work for what it's worth. But raising money, of course, is very different and can be just as noble, right? You're making a work of art, a gift, something beautiful. Of course, it's worth it for the world to purchase that work of art. But when you're raising money for an idea, let's say a film or an installation or a non-profit idea of let's say, an educational idea, now you're asking the public to support a vision, an idea, and that's quite a different perspective. Do you know what I mean? It's why in the fundraising classes that I teach, there has to be a kind of a shift, a mind shift a little bit. So, initially when people raise money, it can be difficult to follow through the process, meaning send emails to people, keep putting updates on, let's say, your Kickstarter blog or your emails, to really follow through on this. And part of the reason is it's an awkward place to come from for most people, right? This idea of raising money, of having ambition for a lot of money. But the mindset you have to put yourself into is, imagine yourself running a museum, right? You have the job as director of a small museum. And part of your job as director of this museum, and this is actually the fact, is raising money. So you're in the position of a director that loves the museum that you're in charge of, and you're getting paid to do it. And you also have to raise money from the board members and other people there, which means find ways to ask them to give you more money just so the museum can exist. And you begin to work with perhaps someone else there who's done a little bit of that before, or you look at their past emails. And you think, oh, this isn't so hard, right? You're the director of the museum. This is a beautiful museum. I'm going to ask them for money. All these people have donated. I'll ask them for more funds for this. It would seem natural, and partly that's because you're the director of a museum. You're one step away from where the money's actually going. But it's an important model because museums aren't giving the patron anything for having a membership of $100 a year or $1,000 a year or $10,000 a year donation. Maybe they get invited to a few parties or special openings, but they don't get any art. They don't get anything special material for $10,000 or more a year. They get the joy of knowing that the museum continues to thrive. So, that's a mindset. And if you can take that mindset, if you can imagine that a bit with me today, that you're running a museum and you're raising money so that the public can continue to see this beautiful work because it's important. It's a way of also thinking about how to raise money for yourself, for your own project, for your musical project, your film project, your visual art project. You have a series of paintings, photographs, sculptures, whatever it is to get out there. Whether it's through Kickstarter, Indiegogo, or all kinds of other fundraising platforms. I teach a lot about writing letters in my patrons class, directly to patrons, but whatever your method is of fundraising, one of the biggest blocks is this mindset, right, of feeling like you're worthy of all of this. So again, put yourself in the place of the museum director, how they raise money, what a worthy cause they are, and apply that to your own visions and ideas and reasons and needs for raising more money, 100,000, half a million, whatever you need. It happens all the time. We see little pop-ups all over a lot of cities, which are nonprofits, often renting spaces and having a show, raising money. There's new nonprofits all the time. These are people that went out and raised money, said, I have an idea that'll help the world. So, and by nonprofits, I mean alternative spaces to show art, art-related nonprofits. So I hope this talk was helpful today. If you're interested in the Patrons and Sponsors class, there's a link to that below. But I also just want to say that I think that, the idea of fundraising is very important for artists. It's historically how artists have survived. Surviving off selling your work or doing very ambitious things just with the money that you have is difficult. Patrons make it possible to do large-scale projects. And honestly, large-scale projects is what's exciting to a patron too. It's, speaks to your ambition, whether it's many paintings, many sculptures, a film, but it speaks to your ambition and is exciting. So hope that was helpful, and I wish you all well with your studio and your dream projects.